Okay, these three brilliant candidates are running for mayor of San Leandro, and we're going to start with a 2-minute opening remark, and we're going to start with Juan, and then we'll just go right down the line. Go ahead, Juan.
Okay, thank you, club members and guests, for demonstrating your commitment to democracy. Thank you for being here today. You know, for 30 years, I've demonstrated leadership in our community, working side by side with many of you. As a multilingual volunteer, as an advocate for youth, and as a leader pushing for community engagement, inclusion, promoting equity. As many of you know, I will be retiring from my job and committing 100% to being a full-time mayor of San Leandro. I have a PhD in economics. That's my training, my academic training, with a major in public finance, which means that I understand budgets, public budgets in particular. And for 30 years, I've served both government agencies and private businesses using data analysis and economic analysis to try to figure out what went wrong, to determine how to fix it, and to make the changes that are required to make things better. So for 30 years, I've also received training, ongoing training in diverse areas like leadership development, team development, negotiations, regulatory and contract compliance, risk management, and sales. In San Leandro, I've served the community in lots of ways on the oversight committees, on budget and finance committees, and on nonprofit boards. And for many years, I've also participated in governmental meetings, whether that's a city council meetings, or school board meetings, city commission meetings. You know what? With the emergence of federal funding that's growing, state funding that's growing, we as a community, we need to embrace the dreams and hopes of our community members. And our budget needs to capture their priorities. And so that's why I'm really proud of all the door knocking that we've been doing on literally over 5,000 doors, hearing from the community. San Leandro's want a brighter future. They want a safer, cleaner, more vibrant and sustainable San Leandro. And I bring the leadership experience and the community connections to make that a reality. So I welcome your question.
Thank you, San Leandro Democratic Club, all the residents out here today. I'm excited to be able to say that I'm running for mayor here in San Leandro. I'm running for mayor because I've got proven leadership experience and results. As a former council member, I helped pass the minimum wage order. I helped ban flavored tobacco before anyone else here in the county. I helped with my colleagues make San Leandro a sanctuary city. I'm a 17-year resident here in the city of San Leandro. Both my kids go to public school here in San Leandro. I've got a master's in public administration. I've got a BS degree in organizational behavior and leadership. I feel confident that just with my years of experience here in the city of San Leandro, working for organizations like the San Leandro Education Foundation as a board member, the San Leandro Rotary Club, the San Leandro Scholarship Foundation, sitting on the Human Service Commission for Alameda County, where I was appointed by all of the Alameda County mayors to be their representative. I feel fairly confident that I'm going to be able to bring that passion and that love and that work, that service here to you guys, be able to make a difference here in the city of San Leandro.
Hello, San Leandro Dems. I'm Council Member Bryan Azevedo. Thank you so much for having me. My journey into serving our community began with my grandfather. When I was younger, I traveled with my grandfather and went state to state, starting from here in San Leandro to the first U.S. city, St. Augustine, Florida. I learned the history of our country and the diversity, and I saw the poverty and the discrimination that was going on in our country, and it intrigued me and inspired me for public service. I took what I learned from those early years and answered the call to serve the community the best I know how. I come from a working class background, to your council member. That wasn't easy, but I remember the wise words my parents taught me: work hard for your dreams because no one's gonna give it to you. And each and every day, as your council member, I remember the core principles I learned from my sheet metal union. How to get the job done. The importance of volunteering and getting out in the community. The importance of bringing the community together for a common cause. And each and every day I hear from the community, you asked me for help when you needed your prescriptions picked up during the height of the pandemic. You asked me for help when you needed your groceries picked up. You asked me for help when you need safety around your business. You asked me for help when you need an area cleaned up. And nothing makes me more proud and connected to you to serve all of you. Thank you.
Okay, the first question is, please list your top 3 priorities. Why are they needed in San Leandro, and how will you accomplish those priorities?
We have 1 minute, right?
Yeah, we'll start with me this time.
So 1 minute.
1 minute, yeah, all the questions now, Mike, are 1 minute.
Thank you. Priorities, affordable housing, building more housing, streamlining housing, making sure that we have to start thinking about eliminating some of the parking requirements that are going to not hold up housing so we can get housing built. We've got to move people from streets to shelters, from shelters to homes. That's what we've got to do as well in regards to handling our unhoused population. Public safety, we've got to continue to get our police staffing up. We shouldn't have police officers working 12-hour days with the fact that they've got a gun on their side having to make a decision. That is not responsible. We've got to make sure that we have one of the best police reforms in this country to move forward and make sure that we keep everybody safe and that people get home safe. Those are just some of my priorities.
Brian?
Well, I have a lot of priorities, but I'll just talk about 3 for right now. My top priority is reducing crime in San Leandro. If you don't feel safe living in San Leandro, what's the use of living here? I already put a plan forward to reduce crime, and we're looking into getting 2 bait cars here in San Leandro, so when they steal these catalytic converters, we can trace them back to the stockpile or the business that are selling them. They're selling them here in San Leandro, and we're going to catch them. We just got 2 downtown safety ambassadors that are walking people to their car and moving the homeless along if they have mental or drug issues and calling the CAT team. And this was the compromise. Some wanted more police, some wanted less police. So we're filling the vacancies and we're hiring additional 10 to 12 people to drive around the streets. They see something, they report it. After a year, they can join a union, and we can get 4 of them for 1 police officer. That's one priority. Homelessness is a big issue in San Leandro. We're looking into getting a navigation center because not all homeless people are the same. There's ones that are just down on the luck. There's ones with mental, drug issues, etc. So we're going to get them to the navigation center to help identify them. And if they're just down on the luck, then we'd love to help them get a place. But if they have mental or drug issues, then we're going to give them the counseling or what they need. And you know what that has to do with gentrification in San Leandro. Right now, people are paying $1,200, $1,400, $1,800 a month. They're getting kicked out so that people can pay $3,000, $4,000 a month. San Leandro's getting gentrified.
Okay, I said this the last time too. We'll allow you to finish a sentence in your time frame, but not a paragraph. Juan, your turn.
I've got three top priorities. The first one being economic revitalization of our city. The second is increased collaboration and improvement of our schools, and the third one is safety. Let's start with economic development. I think that economic development is at the core of expanding housing in our city, of bringing more businesses to our city, and most importantly, bringing more jobs to our city. That drives sustainability because people are actually working here instead of having to commute away from here. The number of people that have told me that they don't shop here because there aren't shops here, really, really important. We must address the homelessness by increasing housing. In terms of collaboration with the schools, there are many opportunities to increase funding to our schools and to do things that are aligned. I was really disappointed that there weren't school children at the 150th birthday celebration. And the last thought is on public safety, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this some more. We absolutely need to increase the diversity of types of safety officers that we have in our city, and I've been in communication with the police department about that.
Thank you. Next question. What will you do to increase protection for almost half our residents who are renters and live in fear of increasing rents and eviction? Are you in favor of a rent stabilization ordinance for San Leandro, and what would it look like? And if you're not in favor of it, what would you do instead? Bryan?
Yes, I am in favor of it, and my colleague, Councilmember Aguilar, already put it forward, and we're looking into coming into the pipeline right now for next year. And yes, I'm for it. I don't receive any money from landlord associations, and so I'm for it, and we're just not at what percent we're gonna do it at right now. We're looking at the numbers. Come on.
So I have been supporting efforts by tenants in Mission Bay to better understand their rights and privileges under existing ordinances. One of the challenges with the existing ordinances that were drafted by prior administrations is that they don't really have any teeth. They don't have any audit provisions. There's no way to basically enforce them. I'm incredibly concerned, worried, bothered, hurt in the gut by the magnitude of rent increases that are not even remotely close to the income increases that we have seen. We need to make sure that rent increases are aligned to the type of income increases that we are seeing within our city, and correspondingly, that would be the guiding principle that I would use.
Steve?
Thank you. Well, according to the housing element, the San Leandro population is 6 times faster than housing production here in the city. And so one of the things we've got to do to address this, first of all, is build more housing, build a lot more housing faster. We've got 44%, according to the element here, of housing, of renters here in the city of San Leandro. And so, what we need to do is, I want to see us bring the landlords to the table. Bring the landlords to the table and ask them, why are you raising rent so high? That's what we really need to get to. Because if you don't want a rent stabilization program, and you don't want rent control, then come to the table and talk to us as a city, because I want to know why you're raising rents at the high amounts that you actually are. That's what we need to start with first. On top of that, once again, streamlining, building housing as much as we can.
Thank you. The next question, and we'll start with Juan. What is the biggest environmental issue facing our city, and what would you do to help solve it?
So the existential issue, obviously, is climate change. The primary cause of climate change are greenhouse gases. The most volatile or dangerous of those gases is methane. So driving change along electrification is the number one priority. The second source of methane, of course, is green waste and improper processing of green waste, especially when green waste ends up in landfills. So educating our residents, supporting efforts to drive green waste into composting. But it really is beyond climate change. That's the existential threat. But as a practical matter, we have insufficient water in the state of California. And we need to find ways to, and I would support the use of gray water within our city. And it's fundamentally important that we find ways to drive more use of the existing water that we have. And obviously at the state level, I will support the increased collection of water to support us as residents.
Lee?
I want to continue to stand behind the city's climate action plan, where the city is committed to reductions of 40% below the 2005 levels that was indicated in the report, and by 2030, and then 80% by 80% below 2005 by 2050. I think the best thing that we could do is let our experts handle this. My role as a city council member, I'll tell you, I'm not an expert in this field, but one of the things I am smart enough to do is apply knowledge by listening to experts. I want to listen to the experts. I want to follow the city's climate action plan. I want to continue to push what the experts are asking from their local politicians to implement a plan that's going to help protect this environment.
Yes, climate change is the big essential threat to our city right now. It's getting warm, it's getting hotter, we're having more fires. We had a red day, it was like a Tatooine day. It was hot. I mean, when the sky was filled with smoke and it was red. So we're having more issues here in San Leandro. So what we need to do is, I support the climate action plan where new buildings are becoming all electrified, and we need to do something about it. We need to make sure that, because we're just making it worse. You look at Europe, it was 104 degrees, and the UK, it's never been hot like that before. People are starting to get air conditionings all over San Leandro now. San Leandro never had air conditioning before, and it's really here in our city. And we're looking in the disaster plan where I put forward Dolores Avenue has a plan where the whole city, the whole street knows where to go during a natural disaster. If there's an earthquake or there's a fire or something, we need to do that block by block. And we have a freezer place here where we need to use that, utilize it. So if we can't use our refrigerators, we have places to put all of our food and all this other stuff that needs to be frozen.
Next question, starting with me. How do you see yourself affecting public safety, reducing crime in San Leandro, and mending the bond between some in our community and the police department?
We start by first mending the bond by making sure that we've got good hires coming out to the police department. On top of that, reducing crime, making sure that we've got police levels up to where they actually need to be. You can be pro-police and pro-reform at the same time, but we gotta make sure that, you know what, people get home at night. We gotta make sure that not irrational decisions and guns are being drawn when guns actually don't need to be drawn, when things can be worked out through having a mediator. We gotta send people home. We gotta make sure police officers get home, and we gotta make sure the people who may be committing the crime actually get home. We should try to avoid loss of life as much as possible. That right there alone is gonna help mend the community, making sure that we have, once again, the right officers on the job, the right hires on the job, the right police levels to help reduce the crime here in the city.
Bryan.
Yes, as I said earlier, I put a plan forward to reduce crime in San Leandro, but my campaign's all about bringing our community together. I've been working with SLPD and social justice groups. I've been doing community cleanups, and SLPD's done some barbecues. So that's what it's all about, bringing our community together. We need to make sure everyone feels welcome here. And our job as mayor is to be neutral, not pro-police, anti-police. When the police do good, we praise them. When they do bad, we give them hell. That's our job.
Juan.
We need to focus on people, process, and technology. People first need to have the right recruits. We need to give the police the training that they deserve, and we need to support them by building relationship. Process. And there are a number of processes, things that get done that diminish the credibility or impactfulness of our police department. I want my police officers to focus on criminal matters, freeing up resources, other issues to be addressed by folks that are not uniformed police officers. The third thought on technology, there's a variety of discussions. I've had a number of discussions with the police department around not only people process, but the technology like using GPS tracking to better understand where the police are in aggregate over time to dispel citizen concerns, address citizen concerns, I should say, that the police aren't in my neighborhood, the police aren't responsive to me. By building the relationships using data and information, you increase credibility. And just having that open dialogue is incredibly important.
Next question goes to Bryan first. What policies can you recommend helping San Leandro and our residents recover from the pandemic? And what have you done personally so far to help during this crisis?
Well, during this crisis, as a lot of you know, we handed out 3,000 meals out of my driveway from small business donations and community donations. And it's really important that we make sure that all the communities is taken care of. A lot of seniors couldn't get out of their house because of COVID, so we dropped off prescriptions. We had a whole volunteer network. And we're looking into different policies where we can help the community, where we can get them the resources that they need, because it's important right now during the crisis when a fire comes or something. They need to make sure that they're able to get what they need, because they might not be able to get out of their houses, or they might not be able to go where they need to go. So we need to make sure that they get something taken to them, or we get the resources that they need.
We need to work with the various constituencies. So in the case of businesses, we need to work with them to help them realize what businesses really are never going to come back because the economy has changed. We have worked personally with a number of homeless individuals in our community, supporting the Downtown Improvement Association in its efforts to drive economic revitalization and restimulating the economy there in particular. What I have found is that a lot of the assistance boils to personal connection. One of the biggest frustrations that I have seen is that my city is full of energetic people that want to help, but that aren't being connected to be able to assist others in need. And so I'm a very big believer that we need to drive youth engagement in our city, as well as adult engagement, and not turn away people that want to help, but instead build the infrastructure to let them help and to be supporting the rest of our residents that need help.
Lee,
Can you repeat the question, please?
what policies can you recommend helping San Leandro and our residents recover from the pandemic? And what have you done personally so far to help during the crisis?
I can tell you I'm the only mayoral candidate up here right now that got a countywide bill passed through the Alameda County Supervisors, which was the Cook from Home bill. We got that bill passed during the height of COVID. We got that bill passed when chefs were out of business. They were working from homes trying to cook and sell food and getting shut down. I led a team of people that pushed that bill. That was a bill that Governor Brown signed when he was in office, but it had no action or movement and traction here in Alameda County. I got that bill passed during the height of COVID. In regards to doing that, so now we've got a cook from home bill. How do we help people now? We implement more of that here in San Leandro. We give them the tools, we give them the finances to be able to start leveraging that ability to cook and sell food from home to be able to make money. We continue to just, once again, invest in our small businesses and find out, what do you actually need? And why are you still struggling? What are your struggles post-COVID? So we can figure out what we need to do to implement a plan to ensure that you don't go out of business, just like a recent restaurant in my neighborhood, Nick's Restaurant, that came in during COVID and they just closed this week because they couldn't recoup and recover.
This question will go to Juan first. Why do you think you will best serve the residents of San Leandro and address the needs of our city?
I've got the most experience of any of these candidates that are running. My experience spans a breadth of talents and skills. I've got deep business experience. I know how to communicate with business. I understand that business is more than simply making money. I understand that businesses need predictability. I have deep relationships in the city. Those relationships are not only with the residents, but they're also with city employees, the people that drive the change. As a council member, as a mayor, your job is oversight. Your job is vision. Your job is leadership, but it is their job to get the job done. And so by having those relationships, I'm able to influence the changes that need to happen. There have been changes that have occurred in the city, in the school district, and within the city itself because of the advice and recommendations that I have made or been part of, and I will continue taking that forward.
I'm one of the candidates up there with the most political experience, and I've been able to navigate the political waters fairly well. As I just mentioned, I got a countywide bill passed. That's not an easy feat to pass a countywide bill. I've served as president of the California League of Cities, amongst other local elected officials. I'm supported by other local elected officials. I've been able to push legislation through, such as the tobacco ban, when I had merchants say that they were going to go out of business, but they didn't go out of business. But I stood firm behind that because that was the right thing to do to support our youth in this city. When I worked with my colleagues to pass the minimum wage ordinance, same thing, we had pushback, and they said they were going to go out of business. But between me and myself and my political experience, we knew exactly what to actually do to get that bill passed to help residents here. The next mayor's got to be able to not just have a good education, but the next mayor's got to be able to navigate the political waters, United City Council, and at the same time, know what needs to be done to be able to pass political agendas.
Bryan.
I believe I'm the best mayor because I'm here on the ground every day. I'm going to fight for this community every single day. I'm dedicated to it, and I've been here, and I'll always be here. I've passed 11 policies since I've been on the city council, from helping the homeless to safe parking zones, to reducing crime, to trap and neuter plans. It's all about helping the community and getting the job done. Anybody can do a good speech or good thing. It's all about getting down in the community and getting the job done. That's what it's all about. And we need a mayor that's going to be the spokesperson for the city. When there's a crisis, that they come and speak up and let the community know that that we have the resources for them, and they,
Next question, and we'll start with Lee. Do you support abortion on demand without restrictions? And it's a yes or no question.
I support the right for a woman to choose to do what she wants to do with her body, especially as a father of 2 children, 2 young daughters, who one day is going to be sexually active and have to make a decision if they choose. I want them to be able to have that right to make that decision. Not my choice, it's the woman's choice, and we should make sure it stays the woman's choice to be able to make the right decision that's right for her.
Bryan,
yes, I always believe in a woman's right to choose.
Juan,
Yes, I believe in a woman's right to choose. I have supported that right. When my daughter faced a decision that she needed to make, I unequivocally supported her in her decision. As best as I know, I'm the only candidate up here who has said that I believe that we should constitutionalize and codify the protections that were existing in Roe prior to its reversal.
next question, and we'll start with Bryan. I believe that we passed a minimum wage ordinance, in fact, I know we did, before the state, of $15, 2-3 years before the state got to it. The state will have an $18 minimum wage ordinance on the ballot in 2024, but are you in favor of San Leandro getting to $18 before the state does? And would you add a clause that will have a cost of living adjustment on it? The current one does not on San Leandro.
Yes, I would support the $18 an hour and the clause. And when the $15 an hour came up, I was there supporting it, and I always support it. I always support workers, and I support business. We need a good balanced approach, but I do support raising the minimum wage.
Juan,
Yes, I would support that. I support it primarily because we have many working families who are not able to make ends meet. And anything that we can do to support the families in our city, we need to do. Here in our school districts, the vast majority of students are on free and reduced lunch. And so we need to find mechanisms like the minimum wage to support those families.
oh, Lee, sorry.
Thanks. I don't support the $18 an hour. I support $20 an hour. Because what's 18? You know, I mean, a recent publication showed that you need to make about $43 an hour here in Alameda County just to be able to pay rent. So why are we even playing around with an $18 wage? I think we can, we could be the first. We can be the ones here in San Leandro, maybe push for a $20 raise, a $20 hour salary if here. So yeah, I don't support 18, but I support 20.
Juan, the next question, you start. What decision by the current city council do you disagree with, and why?
I've been quite concerned about some of the prioritizations that have occurred. There has been a long-standing commitment to manor residents to build a pool in the manor. I just have not seen the effectuation of that. That's a long-standing commitment, and I'd like to see that move forward.
Lee.
I'm concerned that when we have a council that's reactionary on things and governing by being reactionary, and instead of prioritizing and getting these things done when we come together for annual get-togethers to prioritize what's right for the city of San Leandro. What I've seen here in the last couple of years is council members making reactionary decisions and wanting to pass things because it seemed like it was the right thing to do or it was trendy at the time to maybe fit their political agenda. I don't want to govern like that. I want to govern by priorities and making sure that we have a set of priorities that's going to lead the city in the right way, not in a reactionary way.
Well, the city council, the Bayfair TOD, the first act when I was on the city council, I pushed to table it because it didn't protect mobile homeowners people that live in mobile homes, and it did bring public safety and labor to the table. So that was something that got pushed off the table, and it's brought back, and we're reimagining it, changing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. Oakland voters recently approved a vacancy tax on commercial and residential property to create additional incentives for development. Would you support a vacancy tax in San Leandro to spur action on the many vacant and underutilized lots? And we'll go to Lee.
I think the first thing that we've got to do is understand why the properties are vacant. Is this a zoning situation that we can change the zoning ordinance to maybe bring in more people to be able to make that property more attractive? We've got to be able to have those conversations with the actual owners to find out why they're sitting on a vacant piece of property. So for me, it's not about just creating a tax, assuming it's going to spur the property to turn into something. It's about really looking at, once again, the zoning. Do we need to change the zoning that's maybe going to give that property owner more flexibility to be able to do something with that site?
Bryan.
Yes, I do support it, but I also support talking with the businesses and finding out if the businesses and the property owners is see if they can work together. The property owners could lower their rent or something so we can get more businesses in here. We're losing a lot of businesses, especially during COVID.
Juan.
Jim, as you know, that when you and I sat together on the Community Budget Advisory Task Force, and I served as chair of the Revenue Enhancement Committee, we specifically discussed the possibility of a vacant property tax. I think that some of the concerns that were raised by Assessor Law are things that would need to be considered. And as the other few panelists have said, it is a complicated issue where we really need to understand why the buildings were open. We can impose taxes and not make an impact. But ultimately, I do believe that people should not sit on empty property in prime areas of San Leandro and refuse, because they don't have an interest, because they're paying very, very low property taxes, refuse to develop those properties. And so my encouragement will be, let's get businesses into storefronts. Let's get factories and businesses into empty warehouses and empty lots.
Okay, the next question. Do you support a permanent community participatory budget committee? Juan.
Well, on the budget task force, we specifically recommended that there be participatory budget committee and involvement from citizens. What really makes people feel empowered is when they're part of the process. In knocking on thousands of doors, what I've heard over and over and over is that people want to get involved. Now, there are many impediments to getting involved, language barriers being one of them. We have many residents in the city for whom English is not their first language. When I was on the budget task force and we did a work group session, one of the things that we did was bring in translators specifically to facilitate bringing the community in. The school districts in San Leandro that serve us, San Lorenzo and San Leandro Unified, have been very successful at using translators to make it easier for people to participate in school decisions. We need to do the same in our city government.
Lee.
Yes, I mean, I'd actually love to see citizen budget workshops implemented here in the city of San Leandro. You know, whether they're 5-week, 6-week, 8-week workshops that allows our community to be able to understand the budget process, budget 101, and how certain funds are being allocated and where those funds are come from. So I support a process that we actually have an open process where we have budget workshops for our community residents to come participate in them.
Bryan.
Yes, I support it. We need to get the community more involved, and that's one way is in our budget, and any way we can get them involved is good for the community and for the city.
Hey, one of the things that came from the audience that I mentioned earlier was that people were very upset with traffic problems we're having, running red lights, not stopping at stop signs. speeding through our streets. And I'm wondering, what would be your solution to that? And Lee, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I wanna beef up our traffic control department within SLPD. I live on a corner lot and I got people run that stop signs every day, and it's right across the street from James Monroe Elementary School. They don't respect stop signs here. We've got to be able to send a signal that, you know what, you're not allowed to come here in San Leandro and have that type of driving behavior and run stop signs, do donuts in front of people's house in the midday. We've got to be able to have a traffic plan that's going to show that if you want to disobey the laws of the road here, that you're going to get ticketed for it. And right now, no one's afraid of that because they know it doesn't exist here in San Leandro.
Yeah, it's terrible, the traffic violations that are going on in San Leandro, and they're just getting away with it. So with my plan, we are getting more eyes on the street. That's what it's all about, getting more eyes on the street. Seniors tell me all the time that they would love for people driving around at night and they see something, they report it. And these traffic violations and all the crime that's going on in San Leandro, it's terrible. We need more eyes. When people see stuff, they need to report it. And criminals need to know, they come to San Leandro, commit a crime, they're gonna get caught. Don't come to San Leandro.
Juan.
Fundamentally, we have a shortage of traffic enforcement officers. We have one patrol officer and one sergeant. So we've got, I don't know, maybe 50 square miles of San Leandro. You see endless red light running. I don't want to see a child, person on a bike, an adult killed because someone is choosing to run a red light. So we begin by issuing warnings. We begin by stopping people and saying, hey, this is not a good thing. We drive the cultural change, but in the end, it is incredibly important that we be committed to stopping that behavior, even if it means issuing tickets. Even if it means using cameras that are in place for our safety benefit. Even if it means adding more cameras, because there is no reason that a life of a child should be lost because we're not enforcing traffic laws.
Sorry. Next question. Let's start with Bryan on this. Would you support a mental health first response program?
Yes, of course. We need that. I hear from seniors every day. They go to downtown San Leandro, and we have people walking around with mental issues and people talking to themselves all over San Leandro. We have 340 homeless people here in San Leandro. Latest count, give or take some. But yes, that is a big issue here in San Leandro, and I do support it.
Juan.
Yes, we talked about it on the budget task force. I proposed it, supported it, voted for it. I've talked about it at city council meetings, the importance of focusing law enforcement efforts on criminal behavior. It is work that's more satisfying and on point for law enforcement officers, plus by bringing social workers to bear on mental health issues, you actually get the people who are trained to address those risks, addressing them. So absolutely, positively.
Lee.
Absolutely. I work for Oakland Unified School District, and we struggle with mental health with everything from a second grader to fifth grader. And we can't help them at that young age. And how are we supposed to help them when they're becoming adults? Absolutely, I support it. I support doing whatever we need to do to create resources and put more pressure on Alameda County for resources. This is not just under San Leandro, but we can't just rely on our own budget to solve this. We need to expect Alameda County to chip in and do what they're supposed to do to give us the resources and the finances to help make this happen. We can't have police handling mental health issues. Police need to be police criminals. Police don't need to police people with mental health issues.
Next question goes to Juan first. Are you accepting contributions from the California Rental Owners Association?
I've not been approached, so I haven't had to make that decision. I know that some of my competitors are receiving donations from developers.
Lee,
The biggest problem right now taking contributions is the system that we have to run for office here in the city of San Leandro. When you've got to raise $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to run for mayor, that is the issue. When you've got to raise $30,000, $40,000 just to run for city council, that's the issue. I think what we need to do is really look at a little bit of our reform and make it a little bit more equitable about how you run for office here. So the name of the game is to try to win, but if you don't have money to win, it's almost impossible. And so I'll tell you, yes, I'm taking contributions, but if you go back and look at my track record, you will never see a contribution that has been given to me, but a decision has been made on a vote because of a contribution that I received, because I've got morals and I've got values, and you just don't see that.
Bryan,
I don't receive any money from landlord associations or corporations. Not receiving any money from them. I won't. Thank you.
now we're going to closing remarks, and looks like we have 1 minute for your closing remarks. If you haven't mentioned who's supporting you, you may want to do so at the time, and we'll start with Lee.
Thank you for this opportunity today. Elected politicians throughout Alameda County are supporting me because they believe I'm ready to lead as the next mayor here in San Leandro. I'm endorsed by Mayor Pauline Cutter, Oakland Mayor Libby Schaff, Hayward Mayor Barbara Holliday, Union Mayor Carol Lorenci, Assemblymember Bill Quirk, Supervisor David Halbert, Supervisor Nate Miley, Supervisor Dave Brown, and the NorCal Carpenters Union. These individuals all believe that I'm ready to lead here in the city of San Leandro. Today I ask you, the San Leandro Democratic Club, that today make the right decision for San Leandro. I know we're all here to support friends and get friends into office and get friends elected, but what we need is for you to make the right decision in regards to what you feel and who you feel have made the best argument to lead this city. I humbly ask you for your vote today.
Bryan,
Thank you all for having me. I'm endorsed by Councilmember Victor Aguilar, Councilmember Fred Simon, by over 20 unions and 30 small businesses. But my campaign's not about endorsements. It's all about getting out to the community, talking to the people that don't come to the meetings, the thousands of people that don't come to the meetings, that don't speak English, that don't come out. That's what my campaign's all about, reaching out to all the different communities. I went to my first Jewish event. I went to Passover. I'm in my first Passover event. And I'm learning about all the different communities. I went to a Muslim event. It's all about bringing our community together. And that's what my campaign's about. And I humbly ask all of you for your support. I'll fight hard for this community. I love this community. I've been here, and I'll continue to be here for all of you. Thank you.
I'm endorsed by Mayor Pauline Cutter, by Mayor Stephen Cassidy, by the President of the San Leandro Unified School District School Board, President of the San Lorenzo Unified District School Board, many community leaders. San Leandro's want a brighter future for our city, and they want a mayor who's going to work well with others and who listens attentively, who's caring and compassionate and lives values through action. I want a mayor who's going to serve as a full-time mayor and who's going to embrace our city's diversity and drive inclusiveness. A mayor who is well-spoken and is multilingual, who advocates passionately for our city, who is committed to economic vibrancy and for a prosperous future here in San Leandro, and who is committed to helping the most at risk in our community, and ultimately, who believes in liberty and justice for all. In the words of many community leaders, I am that person, and I'd be honored to have your endorsement.
I want to thank all three of you, and now's the time for applause.